session. So at the moment, I'm the founder of No Code District. No Code District. We are basically a no code, low code, and AI software development agency. We work with founders and small and medium enterprises. Okay, that's our main product and our main target as customers. I have 12 years of experience in entrepreneurship in the digital realm. 10 years. I've been working also on marketing, business strategy, and business growth. I've worked with more than 100 companies in digital products like websites, internal tools, and apps. And I've also advised more than 200 founders in different areas of starting a business. I've worked with a bunch of sectors, from innovation to business growth to real estate, food, beauty, fashion, luxury items, financial, and so on. I have launched in the last 12 years. I've tried and launch and close some ventures, some business. And regarding my academic background, it's a bit diverse. I started my bachelor in sports and physical education. Then I did my master in sports sociology, organizational development. Then I did the second master in innovation and entrepreneurship. I did try to finish a PhD in strategy and innovation. I didn't have the time. No, I didn't have the time at the time since I had my company. It was hard to match and have the time for both things, and also the MBA. So that's a quick overview of what I've been doing until today. My business ventures, the first one. So I think I was like 20, almost 20 years old. And I had been a national team athlete in Olympic wrestling. So I had to start working. I decided to open my own wrestling school for kids. That was my first venture. Then in the last year of that wrestling school for kids, I started SP Business Group. That was all of these businesses were in Portugal before I moved to London, almost 2 years now. SP Business Group, basically we were doing websites, apps, and marketing, and some business strategy in between for small and medium enterprises and founders. In the middle of that, I decided to open another consultancy company that was Sports Project. It didn't work at all. It was the only venture I started that I did practically zero with that. Then I also opened Ed for People. It was an education agency. We were creating workshops in Lisbon. I didn't have the time to dedicate myself fully to that company, so I also decided to shut down that company. When I came to the UK, I started two e-commerce businesses, Savists and Queer Creative. Savists basically content on personal development, and Queer Creative LGBT themed art for home. In the meantime, in the last 7 months, from last March, I've opened No Code District, and we are having a very nice journey, building and helping founders and helping small and medium enterprises building their own software, so they don't rely heavily on third-party tools. So this is my quick introduction of my entrepreneurial journey. Moving on. Moving on. So the main idea here today, from what Ari explained and Julia also explained, in fact, building a product, whether it's software or hardware, requires a lot of work and time and research and iterations. So it's not always easy. And normally, especially when we are talking about building software, it requires heavy knowledge. Let's say even a computer science bachelor that just finished 3 years of study may not be able to create a full stack application from the ground up alone. So that's when tools like Bolt, Bubble, and V0 that I will be showing today help to, in fact, create those first prototypes and proof of concepts and starting seeing the product come to life. That's the main idea. So just a quick disclose, Bolt.new and Versal are not no code tools, okay? They are code tools, but they do the coding for you. While Bubble is in fact a no code tool where you can build without writing any line of code. So quick introduction. So we will be using Bolt, okay? That's the first one. Then we will have V0, and then we will have Bubble, okay? These are the three main tools that we will cover today. I will try my best to have like 10 minutes on each, okay? So we can see how they work, what they can do. I will also ask the students, the audience to throw some ideas, and I will pick one and I will try to see how the thing goes. It's on these two, Versal and Bolt.new. I cannot promise that it will work, okay? It's AI, so it may throw some rubbish things sometimes, but let's hope it in fact builds something that we can have as a proof of concept of a specific idea of the audience. Quick overview of the three platforms before we jumping in. Regarding development style, Bolt New is browser-based and it's very flexible about code and the language you can choose. Okay, if you are not a beginner, it's nice to know that you can choose the different languages and the different frameworks and the UI styles and so on. V0 basically is for UI. It doesn't help to build a backend full-scale application, but you can build all the components in UI and using Next.json. Bubble, basically on the development, is a drag and drop visual editor, truly no code. If anyone ever tried to use like Wix for website building, that's Bubble, but for web applications and mobile applications or web-based applications. Bolt New does in fact generate all the code. V0 generates UI files. Bubble does not generate any code, and it's customized through the UI, okay? Bubble can be, in fact, put it on steroids if you know how to write JavaScript. If you know how to write JavaScript, Bubble does everything that it's possible to do. Version control. On all the three, you can control the versions of the things you are trying to work. Customization. Bolt is truly, that's the one I will try to push the most for prototyping, because it's very, if you have an idea, proof of concept, and you want to see the real product, probably Bolt in like a couple of hours, you can have a proof of concept done and see if the thing would work. So Bolt is very 100% customized, especially if you come from a technical background or have at least a friend that has a technical background that can help you in some way to debug some things that may appear. V0 is just for UI components and mainly Next.json. Bubble is highly customizable through the visual tools, the plugins, the JavaScript integrations with code, and so on. Okay, that's a quick overview of the different three tools we are using. We have more. Replit, for instance, is also another one, or Cursor, but that requires normally more technical. I wouldn't put a non-technical, first time, if you have an idea for an application, you want to see something, I would not put you on Replit or Cursor. I will give you Bubble probably, or Bolt, in order to make the journey easier. Focusing on the audience, all the three tools will work, okay? If you have some technical knowledge and you know how to work on the front end and back end languages, and you know how to manage a database, V0 can be very nice to accelerate the UI components, okay? If you don't have any technical background and you don't understand anything about, if you look at a coding file and you definitely don't know what's going on, I would say go to Bubble. If you are okay or have at least some knowledge on coding and you can read a bit of the code and understand, let's say, what is happening, Bolt can be a nice solution to try. Bolt can also be good if you really don't know anything, but you are really eager to learn throughout the process of interacting with the tool, and you know how to prompt and ask the right questions, and you are not afraid of suddenly have the app being broken because of a specific prompt that you just asked, okay? So that's for the end. Let me just stop sharing the presentation. This is no code, okay? Just a quick, that's basically what we do. And let's move to the tools. So first thing I will ask, let me open, so Bolt. I have it, I had the thing open. Give me just 1 second so I can find in which browser I have the things open. Okay, it's not open. I will have to open. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm here. V0. I'm also here, and on Bubble I'm also here. Nice. So, and I will add to this prompt. Okay, let's create a web app that allows university students to manage their daily lives, managing class, marks, assignments, and taking notes, and also store some internships. And also find some internships. Okay, find internships at some. Okay, so basically, I will try to create a web app that allows university students to manage their daily lives, managing classes, marks, assignments, and taking notes, and also find some internships opportunities. Okay. Add some AI, and I will try also to add some AI capacity to generate some questions of a specific note in order to help students improve their learning. Allow to store the questions and answers to each note. Is this okay? Try to build this one. Adding the internship. Yes. What do you think, Ari? Yes, yes. Make it simpler.
Yeah, go for it. Let's go for it.
Okay. We could make it simpler, but I think it's possible to do at least the first end on this one. So let me see. I can show you also. This is one of the tools I have been building with Bubble. Okay. For instance, for project management and CRM, I use ClickUp. So I'm trying to build my own personal CRM. I can show you. And this is being built with Bolt. Okay. So basically, it took me like 1 hour to have this ready, and you can create people, add clients, tasks, and so on. So it's in fact a very nice tool. But let's move to Bolt. So let me see if I'm signed in. Okay. Let's see what basically you come to. In order to get to Bolt.new, you have to come to Stack Blitz. Okay. And on Stack Blitz, you have to create an account and then start using Bolt New. Okay, Stack Blitz basically is a EDI where you manage all the files of a project and you get access to everything. Okay, but let's move to Bolt. So basically, you chat with the tool. It's like ChatGPT interface. You see the code being written. Let's just see. It starts answering what you did. I will help create a comprehensive student management system with a modern personal design. You starting creating all the files, okay? Needed for the app. While it builds, let's do the same thing on Vercel, okay? I will just add, let's create a single page so we can see everything single page. So it doesn't create just specific components, and I will remove the AI capacity, okay? Because it's just for UI components, the front end, what the user see is still working.
You also have a question from Livia in the chat. What's your take on Bolt versus Replit?
Replit, on my experience, I would say Replit is definitely stronger, more robust platform if you know how to use and write code, okay? It's easier because you will need to do some commands on the terminal in order to make the thing happen. While on Bolt, you don't have to do nothing of that. And if you have any questions how to deploy, how to create a database, integrate with Firebase or Superbase, for instance, it's easier to do it on Bolt, okay? But Replit definitely it's one of the biggest ones, but it's more technical. So if you don't know anything about code, I wouldn't say go to Replit and try to build your application there, at least on the beginning, unless you have time and you are ready to learn. That would be my take on that one. So it takes a bit of time because this one is bigger as functionalities. But let's see if Vercel, okay. For instance, Vercel already gave us an idea of how the UI of the tool could look like, okay? So what do you guys think Are you satisfied with the idea? On this one, we would be able to add classes. Let me see. Okay, I can add like maths schedule. I don't know what he's asking here. I will say 12. Okay, it allows me to add classes. On the assignments, let's say this one. On the due date, this one also allows, I can mark as completed. On the marks coming soon, I can ask it to, let me just see the notes. Okay, notes already working in internships opportunities. Okay, please include the marks and marks, notes, and internships. This is on Versal, on Bolt. Now it threw an error. Okay, so one thing you can do is just copy the error and send it again to the app, and it will try to fix the error by itself. Okay, let's see if now it will work.
You have another question in the chat from Dante, and said, you said Bolt doesn't require any additional code work while the other tools do, right? So,
No, so Bolt, it has code, okay? So if you know how to code, you can just simply edit the file and see the thing coming live in the preview. Let's just see if it works on this one. V0 also use code, okay? If you know how to prompt and write code, that's fine. If you don't know, you can just rely on the tool to create the UI components. Bubble itself, that's one I will do on the end of the conversation, because it has some AI, but basically it's a visual builder, okay? It's different. This is a different type of tool. It's really no code, while these ones, it's code, but written with AI. Okay, so Bolt already gave us an application. Let's just deploy the application just to see it live, okay? See if it's possible. So Bolt also has a partnership with Netlify, so you can have the app hosted on Netlify and connected, for instance, with GitHub to deploy changes, or connected with Supabase or Firebase for a backend and database, okay? But this is a result of Bolt.new. Basically, you have the dashboard, the courses, the assignments, the notes, and the internships. I think, okay, it's already has some models, so you can add an opportunity. Let's say company, this is for internship, company one, position, let's say marketing, location, London, application deadline, let's say 10 of 10 of 2025, description. This is let me see if it saves already. Okay, it saves. Okay, you could mark it as applied. I will improve it further. Okay, so we have dashboard and courses, but before that, let's make it prettier. Okay, please rebuild using Radix UI. This is a framework for UI components. The thing will look better at the end.
so you mentioned on there as well that when you press deploy, you get a live URL. Can you
Yes.
send that URL to anybody? So if I'm looking at an investor or someone who's interested in my idea, I can just send them that, they can access it as well. Okay.
Yes. So let me just check, because it says that this URL, this specific URL, if you don't claim it, it's going to be live for a few days. Okay, I think it's 7 days. But in order to have access to the URL always, you need to claim, and in order to claim, you will be taken to Netlify, and you can start adding your projects to Netlify. Okay, for instance, these are the projects that I have deployed, and take ownership of the result. Okay. I would not go here on now to start using Netlify because that's other thing. That's when the thing gets a bit more technical. But if you ask Bolt, feel secure that it will walk you through step by step, even connecting to a database. Okay. So let me just see what it did now. Well, let's continue. Okay, continue to improve the dashboard. Dashboard. I think it didn't install the UI components, but that's something. Okay, maybe now it will. So this is on Bolt, the result we have on Bolt until the moment. This is on Versal. As you can see, it's the same thing, let's say, the same application, but with a different UI. So on V0 now, you would have to connect this to a GitHub, for instance, in order to start deploying it. And you will have to connect it to Replit and start trying to have a working application, okay? Let me just check here, Bolt again. All of these three tools, both Bubble, V0, and Bolt, have free tiers, okay? So feel free to test it out. But it may get a bit more expensive throughout time. I will show you the pricing of the tools also. Let me just see. Okay, so now it has improved the dashboard, and basically that's a result on Bolt. Let's improve, for instance, courses. Improve courses. So all of these prompts are very basic, okay? So even if you are not super technical, you can write it like in plain English, things that you would like the app to do, and it will try its best to go with that logic. And we can also ask Versal to improve it. Anything you guys would like to see the app, this specific app doing?
Yes, actually, can you program an app that can convert different types of like PDF into Word and stuff like that?
Yes. Yes. I can show you. Give me just a second. Getting this. The one I know that Bolt can definitely do, and all of those three, this one on the Versal, you will have the UI. But Bolt can do it, and Bubble can also do it with some plugins, if you know, or plugins or JavaScript, two options. But let me see. This is, I can try to create that one for you to see. Let's just wait for this one to finish. So as you can see, it's very easy. It's basically Bolt is focusing on a chat interface. You talk to the tool, and the tool builds everything that you need. Okay.
Thanks.
Not everything, but but it builds. So now I have asked it to improve the courses, I guess. Yes. Not yet. Okay. But you can add courses also. Let's say again, maths.
There's a question, Samuel, in the chat, which is, can the app generate code for a Figma prototype?
Never tried that one, but probably yes. That's something we can try. So
They ask if you give a PDF PNG and then ask it code,
yeah.
can it transform it in app?
Yes. So on Bolt. Let's try those two tests, okay? But before going to the PDF from
Yeah.
the, let's say from form to PDF and creating from an image, let's say, or a PDF. So basically, let's say this could be, if you have an idea, this could be a nice prototype to start share, for instance, with users to get some feedback, or potential investors just to see what you're trying to build. And at the end, you can have a fully functional application just using Bolt, okay? The only thing I would say from my tests with Bolt, don't try to use Next.js, even though the UI and everything may look nicer. It gets a lot of errors, okay? So you will have the application throwing errors like every 5 minutes. So you will have to be building and rebuilding, and this thing basically it's based on tokens. So every time it makes an error and it has to rewrite it, it costs tokens. So use Vite. This is the one, Vite React and Vite and React basically. These are the ones that normally don't throw that much errors, as you can see. But regarding the UI, you can search Radix, you have Atlas that work very well with Vite. And you can have a nice UI, for instance, as this one, that is more modern, more sleek, and more minimalist. So Bolt. So in order to keep the project on Bolt, okay, after you have, let's say, the first version of what you want to build, you can open in StackBlitz, okay? Or you can download. And if you download the project, you will have all the files here, okay? Everything that it's written here. So you can use it on your local computer, you can deploy it on GitHub and so on. More stuff, open in StackBlitz, okay? Just to make sure you keep the project. Let me just see, just something. And I'll save it again. And I will close now, Bolt new, and I will reopen the project. Okay, let's imagine, let me just see the name, student management system. So I'll open to my dashboard. Let's see, the next day, I want to start building again the project. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, it did not save for some reason. Okay, it did not save. So now there's no way I can get access to, let me open Bolt again. So probably now if I want to go to my student management system again, let me check. Okay, I think probably we are safe. It's still saved the application. Okay, it's still saved. But as best practice, try to open in StackBlitz, save the project, so you always have the project, and download the project. So you need, if you need to input again that project on the chat or on StackBlitz and open on Bolt new, it's always there, and you know what is going on. So PDF. What was the idea on the PDF?
The question, let me check. The question was, can you put a PDF PNG and then ask it to code it and transform it into an app?
Let's say, let me just get.
Yeah, you create a design on Figma and you put it as a PDF and it codes.
Okay, so I will steal this image, sorry for whoever built this one, and I will come to Bolt and I will just ask it simple. And probably, this one I never tried, but probably it will have a first version of this. Okay, let's just have this one and let's move to Bubble, okay? So Bubble, it's a no code, it's another tool that allows you to create an app. Create an account, you will be taken to the dashboard and basically come here and create an app. Let's say again, student management, the same idea. Let's start with basic features and it will create the environment for the app. And at the moment, Bubble allows you to, let me just see, skip assistant. Okay, so you start with a blank screen, okay? Two options. You can start build with things here on the left side, on the editor side. Let's say you already know you want to, let's copy this one. You need to have like a tabs here on the top. So let's say I will put that as text at the moment. Home. And basically is like playing, not home, dashboard. It's like creating an application visual with a basically via visual programming, let's say. Let's call it that way. It takes a bit more time, okay, compared to Bolt, as you can see. I will have to spend a couple of minutes here building this.
But you can customize it better because
Yes,
then you
can
decide.
customize.
Yeah.
You can do everything you want, basically. Okay, you have a bunch of components, let's say a button, icon, images, links, and so on, pop-ups, floating groups. This one requires that you understand a little bit more about how Bubble works as a platform, okay? All of these things. You can create anything on Bubble. You don't need to write code, but you need to learn Bubble. And the learning curve, I would say, for at least for you to feel comfortable with building on Bubble, it would take at least like 3 months, okay? To at least be a bit proficient on Bubble. There are things you can do on Bubble that make your life easier. Okay, let's say Bubble IO templates. They have a bunch of templates, okay, also free and paid. Let's see some of the applications that you could build on Bubble. Let me try to find, for instance, Uber. Uber like tax, okay. Let's preview. This is one of the applications that, for instance, you can build like a project management tool. You can add projects, see the projects, like projects, remove the like. So this is an example of an app that is built on Bubble. It has some messages, my tasks, my projects. On this Uber one, it has a landing page. Okay. You can sign up. Probably it will take me to somewhere, demo login. Okay. I can go, for instance, as a writer. And the idea here is to show that in order to accelerate the development process, depending on your idea, Bubble may have some templates ready to being used, okay? If you don't want to spend a lot of time, as I was doing here to create from scratch the application with the different elements, there are a couple of templates also that are building blocks, okay? Just come here on the templates library, building blocks, and they have a couple of building blocks. For instance, let me choose one.
There's a question in the chat about if you recommend any tools, online course for learning Bubble.
Yes, Bubble as on that one, I will answer that one in a moment, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Because there are a bunch of things there. But basically on the Bubble apps, you have building blocks, okay? And you can choose to use those building blocks. Let's say this one as a bunch of, let me see, what does this one have? Pages. Okay, so it already has some menus ready. Okay, for instance, sidebars. Let's see this one. Another sidebar, okay, with some collapsing effect. So this would make the building an application easier. On my side, since we also work with the agency, I can show you there are other plugins that you can use. In this case, a Chrome extension. Let's say if this one let me in. Okay, nice. I will open just a test application here. Let me build a test page. I use a plugin that allows to accelerate the development. Okay, this one, no codable.
You like
And
your
basically,
WordPress.
Yeah, but WordPress is not so we can say it's more for professional. It's good because it's not code. It's not code, but it's
I know, but
really-
Webflow WordPress, I think it's the difficulty is a bit
Yeah.
equivalent.
probably. Yeah.
comparing to, so can I join the discussion? I would say Bubble, if you want to build an application, Bubble is the right one, okay? If it's at least, let's say, medium complexity application, I wouldn't put it on Webflow. I would build it on Bubble, okay? You have more control on the workflows and everything that the app is supposed to do. WordPress, if you know how to write PHP, go ahead and build an application using WordPress, and that's possible to do. In case you don't know any type of language and you want to build an app, a web app, not a mobile native app, I would suggest to come to Bubble, okay? But just to finish this one, so basically there are a bunch of templates or prepared components, okay? Let's say if I want a dashboard, I can come here. This is no codable components, okay? That's the name of the tool. I can copy the component and basically it will create a new page because this is a page, not just a component. And like in 1 minute, I have a dashboard ready to I have a dashboard ready to being used. Okay, this one doesn't have the workflows, so it's just the UI. We would have to work on the workflows, but there are other components that have the workflows. A quick introduction to Bubble. Basically, we have the editor that is for design, elements to be added here on the left. Then we have the workflows. Let's say if I want something to happen when I click on this image, I come here and I had the workflow and I can make stuff happen, okay? Sign the user up, log the user in, go to a specific page, do something on the database or creating, edit, deleting, updating, emails, payment systems, if you connect it, for instance, with Stripe, analytics with some plugins. So I would say Bubble is capable of building 90% of the apps that we have on the market at the moment, unless it's very complicated and needs, for instance, a bunch of line of codes and some functionalities and integrations that are complicated. It also has a database, so it removes the hassle of connecting the front end with the back end. Everything here is stored on the application, okay? Within the Bubble environment. You can manage the styles of the application, the UI, and create some general rules of design. It also has plugins. This is the one that makes Bubble a very nice tool to know how to use because there are a bunch of functionalities that you may want to use, for instance, connecting with Stripe. And there are already plugins. You just need to read the documentation of the plugin and see how the plugin works. But they have a lot of plugins, okay? And for instance, just the API connector, more than 1.5 million applications have this plugin connected. I think at the moment they have like something like 4 million applications built on Bubble, so it's a very good tool. And yeah, this is Bubble. The plugins, then we have the settings, and we have the logs of things that are happening on the back end of the application and the usage. Okay, it takes a bit time to learn it, but from the moment you start learning, it becomes easy. Okay, so this is Bubble. And I have shown some templates of things that can be built on Bubble, so you have an idea of how of what you can expect or what you can build, okay, using Bubble. Just coming here again to Bolt, because we had the PDF thing. Let me see. Basically, I gave it an image. Let's see if it was able to copy responsive layout, the code sidebar, sales funnel, analytics. Failed to build a project. Okay. So it's throwing an error on this one. Basically, now would be the time to start asking what is wrong, and the Bolt will try to solve that specific issue. Okay. Now it will create everything from scratch. Probably I left the screen, not sure, but okay, is getting some errors. Let me try again. Build something like this. So I think this image that I just gave it, it's a bit complex, okay, has a lot of things. So probably I would say without certain, okay, because I never tried to, okay, I have something here.
So, quick question. Is there a way in which you can combine different apps? So for instance, can you do I'll go back slightly. We had a conversation previously where you mentioned that you do some prototype designing using Bolt and then you do your main functionality via Bubble. What would you recommend in terms of maybe going on Bolt and creating something and then combining it with Bubble? Is that easy or can they all
Okay.
work in sync?
That comes from my, I would say, personal experience. Okay, I'm not a traditional developer, so I know how to code a bit, but I would not be able to code a fully functional full stack app. Okay, connecting backend and front end. So that's why I built mainly on Bubble. Now we are starting testing Bolt, and we know a bit of code. It's easier for us to transition on building some things on Bolt. Now, how I use it personally, so it's not doing a great job at the moment, but how I use it personally is, let's say, when I have a client and we need to start discussing a prototype, instead of coming to Bubble and doing it manually, okay, like as I was showing you here, coming and using some templates and planning everything and seeing, like, let's say, what screens do we want, what components do we want, what kind of actions do we want. Normally I start the conversation using Bolt. That's normally how I'm using Bolt at the moment in order to develop the apps. We start creating some prototypes here, we show it to the client. Let's say someone comes with this idea, uh, and we want to start a discussion of what the app should look like, what it should do. We could build the prototype here like in 1 hour, 2 hours, then sending it to the client, and then start getting some feedback. And from here, close, let's say, the prototype and move it to Bubble, start building on Bubble. Okay. Now, to be honest, this poses a bit of a, it's not a, to be honest, it's just a challenge. And I think it comes from who is building the application. Okay, if you have a technical background and you feel that Bolt is more than enough to manage what you want to do, you may not need to use Bubble. But if you're not technical and you are not sure how to then manage and update and upgrade and installing dependencies and so on, and if something changes on the specific language, if you are not comfortable with that, maybe building or launching the software as basically a bunch of files, code, traditional development may not be a good solution, okay? Bubble is easier, okay? Because if you need to change, if you want to change a word or you want to change the order of something, if you want to add a specific function, if you want to add a specific feature, it's easier to manage, okay? If you don't have a technical background. So that is my take on that bit. It depends on who you are, what do you know, or at least how much money do you have in order to spend and invest on a specific application. If you have a friend, let's say, that can help you troubleshoot the coding, it's something that can give you a little bit more security. Okay, I will launch it with traditional coding instead of no code.
Okay.
But
There was a couple questions in the group chat around pricing for all this as well.
okay.
And I'm guessing with Bubble, there's a feature on there, not a feature, but the more complicated the app is or whatever you're developing, the more expensive it becomes. How does that work? Or can you kind of do it for free as long as you want?
Okay, so basically, all of the three have free plans, okay? So you can start playing with these three that I've just shown you. Bolt New, Bubble, and V0. And then they have other plans. Regarding Bubble, in fact, the pricing model is based on workload units. It's not easy to understand how they measure the workload units, okay? But basically is what your app needs to do in order to be live. And let's say going to the database and check for a specific type of data, doing a search on the database, creating a new user, uploading a new type of document or a specific file, connecting to the API, making the API request, deleting the API, posting them, so on, so on, so on. All of those things that an app can do, Bubble can get very expensive. But unless you are like a bad developer. If you are a good Bubble developer, you know you know how to make the thing you know how to make the workload units being reduced to the bare minimum. Let's say if you want to do a database search, you have like 1,000 users and you want to do a specific search of a specific user, but the users are divided, let's say, by shoe buyers, purse buyers, and house buyers. Instead of asking the application on the workflow to do a search on all the database of the users and find me one specific user on the shoe, you can have like the database well structured, that you have like a satellite data type just for the shoe users, and instead of going to the database and search 1,000 rows, it will go just to the shoe users and let's say search 50 rows, and you can segment or at least funnel the search more until you make the workflow the most effective possible without using all the workflows. But to be honest, let's say this plan for a normal app, there are apps that have like 1,000 users, 2,000 users, and this plan is enough, okay? And 1,000 users using your app, that's a lot of users. Now, it depends how long the user uses your app, let's say on a daily basis. If it's for a business and it's an internal tool that it's used, let's say every hour, probably this one may be best if you have like a 20, 50 team that is using the tool like daily, every hour, and a lot of things are happening on the database. But again, it comes to tests.
Okay,
we
so
never sure how much it will cost until it's on the market and we know for sure how much is consuming on a specific workload unit or a specific workflow.
Thank you, Samuel. We're closing in on the 7 p.m. mark, and I know Maeva, you put the final question in the chat just to maybe wrap everything up. I don't know if you want to answer.
Absolutely. Maybe Samuel, I know you had eventually a last slide, maybe a wrap-up slide that you prepared.
Yep.
If you
Yes,
want to
there.
if you want to share it.
But yeah, it was basically some best practices on. Now I will have to find it. Workshop 3, correct? Workshop 3.
Yes.
For some reason, I've closed
No,
the tab. Regarding best practices, the first one is definitely have fun, and if you have time, don't rush. Okay, learn the tools. Try the 3 tools, for instance. See which one makes more sense for what you're trying to build. See if you have a good network that can help you, for instance, on the traditional coding side, or if you have the time to learn the no code, or if you have the capacity to, for instance, hire agency like mine that builds the applications on both sides, and that's an option. Have fun. If you are starting the application, define one core problem. Okay, don't try to build an application that does a bunch of stuff. The user has one problem. Try to solve that one. Get some feedback. Validate the idea. See if the idea resonates with them, and if they will be able to pay for that idea. You can use the no-code, low-code tools, as I've shown you, to save time and effort on having your application ready. And after you starting having some feedback from the user, start prioritizing key features that you want to add to the application, okay? And I think I don't need to say anything else because Ari and Julia were very thorough on explaining everything that Ari said about building a product, a physical product, can be easily translated to a software product, okay? Instead of materials, you are talking about integrations and languages and tools that allow the application to do something. But everything else, it's very similar, the process of building that type of product. And yeah,
So, yeah, please, you wanted to say something else?
and just regarding the bubble courses, I know someone was asking about the bubble courses.
Yeah.
Just go to Bubble, go to Google and search for bubble courses, okay? You have like Bubble has a lot of resources on YouTube, and they have courses, and they have like an academy, so you can learn on Bubble. You can search for Bubble courses Greg, and Greg will appear, and you'll have a lot of good courses on Bubble. You have Code Alliance, No Code Alliance. It's also a provider of courses. So there are a lot of courses, okay, to do. It takes a bit of time on Bubble, but it definitely it's worth it if you want to build and be able to own the application you are building, okay? Traditional coding, it's what we already know.
Maybe to close on this, Samuel, I think that the tools you shared are really amazing, and that's astonishing to see how fast we can build thanks to these tools platform. So I guess the as it's so fast and so easy, the strong value in the project is not in building the platform today.
I would say now the most important thing is the idea. Have a good idea. But it's not. I wouldn't say it's easy. Sometimes it may be easy. You may come up with an idea, a very good idea in one day. But now the value resides on the best idea.
And I
Building
guess it's on the fact of being continuously innovative, because imagine you find a new super interesting solution, you build it, but then everybody can copy it super fast. So
on
you need to
software,
come back with always new ways of doing stuff,
new
no?
features. Again, I think if you are an entrepreneur, I would say it's a personal decision. Like you may want to just have a specific tool, and you don't want to dedicate more time than just 1 or 2 features. And if a competitor comes, that's fine. You move on, or you have to at least try to gain market from that competitor and rebuild the application, or adding new features, or pivoting to some kind of thing. But as every business, the idea is always continue to improve. There's no way to win the market without continuously improving the product. So it's like the compromise or the commitment to having a business. I will try to make it better every day. Otherwise,
and of course, there is a relationship with your clients, because if your clients are super happy with what you do, they don't take the cost to go somewhere else. And it's all about putting the strength on the effort on the relationship with customers and many other topics. So I guess
it's everything. It's based on relationships. Even software, it's human. It's human to human. We need to take care of our customers, so they take care of us. That's the motto. But yeah,
Thanks.
I
Thanks
hope
a
you
lot,
guys
Samuel.
enjoyed it.